Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about how amazing the press conference for Bethesda Game Studios was for 2019. Now, before the press conference started, I was a little bit skeptical. I remember it was either 2017 or 2016's press conference, and I remember it wasn't good in any way, shape, or form. They didn't announce anything new, nothing looked good. They showed off some stuff that was upcoming for, I believe it was The Evil Within at the time, but besides that, they really didn't show anything off. And I also believe they showed off some stuff for Fallout Shelter and stuff like that. But I don't remember exactly when it was, but I remember Bethesda about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, had a very bad press conference that really wasn't that good. And since Fallout 76 came out in 2018, and since Bethesda Game Studios did a lot at last year's E3 press conference, I assumed that this press conference wasn't going to have much in it. After all, Todd Howard did say that there would be no Starfield and or the Elder Scrolls 6 at this year's E3 press conference for 2019, and there wasn't. And even though there was no Starfield and or Elder Scrolls 6 at this year's 2019 E3 press conference for Bethesda, I have to say it was fantastic nonetheless. Now, if you guys see my whole breakdown of it, essentially that's like an hour video where I take all the important parts of the Bethesda E3 press conference. I kind of give you guys an overview and a brief review of it, but I really didn't do a review on the E3 press conference, and that's what this video is for, just to let you guys know how amazing the E3 press conference for Bethesda Game Studio was, or for Bethesda anyway, how amazing the Bethesda E3 press conference was for 2019. Now, there was a lot of stuff that happened at the E3 press conference, and if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch it. Link will be down in the description below. But the first thing they showed off was some stuff for the Elder Scrolls Blades. Now, I'm not a huge fan for the Elder Scrolls Blades, but after last night's E3 press conference, I decided to give it a try for myself, and it was a really good game, and to be honest, I'm hooked. Yeah, there's microtransactions, but it's a mobile game, and you really can't expect much else from a mobile game. So, yeah, it was pretty cool to see some stuff for the Elder Scrolls Blades. Then, after they showed off some stuff for the Elder Scrolls Blades and announced that it was going cross-platform along with it coming to the Nintendo Switch, it was really exciting for the Elder Scrolls Blades, to say the least. And that was just the first and probably one of the smallest things they showed off at this year's E3. After that, they talked about Fallout 76. They talked about the Wastelanders DLC, which is coming, which looks absolutely bitchin'. It's gonna add NPCs, which is insane. It's gonna add new main quests. It's gonna have choices and consequences, and it's gonna add new gears and weapons. Essentially, it's Fallout 76's first very large DLC. And Wastelanders comes out. I forgot when it comes out. Fall 2019, I believe, and I'm very excited for it. They also showed off Nuclear Winter, which was a battle royale. Now, at first, I was skeptical, but after playing it for a bit, I actually quite like it, and I'll have a whole video on it. So, yeah, just a FYI for a later date and time. And to be honest, Nuclear Winter was pretty cool. It's a unique, interesting battle royale. There's power armor, perk cards. There's like this little type of base building where you could put down turrets and stuff. It's really quite fun and awesome in my opinion. And then after they showed off a bunch of stuff for Fallout 76, next up, Tango Gameworks came out. Tango Gameworks, obviously owned by ZeniMax Media Incorporated. Tango Gameworks is the people who make The Evil Within, for those of you who do not know. They come out on stage and announced Ghostwire Tokyo, and that game looked extremely amazing. It looked like a paranormal game set in Japan based off people disappearing, and it just looked completely insane, and it looked fantastic and amazing, and it looks like something I definitely would want to give a try. After the Ghostwire Tokyo announcement, they then talked about the Elder Scrolls Online. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the Elder Scrolls Online. I don't play a whole lot of the Elder Scrolls Online, although I will probably get into it because of last night's E3 press conference. So, the Elder Scrolls Online, during their press conference, they show off this amazing trailer for the Elsewhere expansion, which just looked phenomenal. After they showed off that expansion for Elsewhere, the little trailer, they then announced 2 future updates which were to come, which included a update called Dragonhold and Scalebreaker. They didn't really show much of that, they just kind of released the 2 title names, and it was really cool. After that, ZeniMax themselves, came on stage and announced that they're going to have a mobile game called Commander Keen, which is this really cool, cutesy looking mobile game. It doesn't look like it's super crazy like the Elder Scrolls Blades is, or it doesn't look super cool like Fallout Shelter or the Elder Scrolls Legends, but it's cool nonetheless because it's a really unique looking mobile game in my opinion with original characters, and it just looked really cool. There was a whole thing in the press conference about it. If you guys haven't seen the press conference, odds are I lost you away like 20 minutes ago. But yeah, the Commander Keen looks super good. After Commander Keen was shown off, they showed off some stuff for the Elder Scrolls Legends. Now, the Elder Scrolls Legends, I do enjoy. In fact, it's one of my favorite games at this current moment in time, and I'm playing it on my phone. I was actually playing it before I made this video. That's how much I like it. And they showed off this little trailer for it, which was really cool. Nothing new. And then they announced or I should say, they kind of showed off a little bit of the next installment or next chapter or next story mode coming to the Elder Scrolls Legends, which is something called Moons of Elsewhere, and that looks really cool as well. Obviously, we know Elsewhere is where the Khajiit come from, and they have a whole unique, interesting background in the Elder Scrolls world. It's just really cool, and I can't wait to see what that's like, especially with the Elder Scrolls Legends being the type of game that it is, where it's a card-based battle game, but then you also have these story bits that you unlock by card battling, and it's really cool. After that, it was on to some Rage 2 stuff. They showed some little new stuff that was going to come, and that looked pretty interesting as well. Didn't play a whole lot of Rage 2. In fact, I didn't even buy it, unfortunately. But Rage 2 looked really good nonetheless, and looked fantastic and amazing. After Rage 2 was shown off, they went on to show off Wolfenstein, Cyberpilot, and Youngblood. Cyberpilot and Youngblood look absolutely just gnarly. Youngblood looks way better than Cyberpilot. Cyberpilot obviously being a VR title. VR titles really, some of them are pretty good, but we know most of them are still a bit janky. VR's not at the point that I think it needs to be for people to actually want to play it. But Cyberpilot looked cool nonetheless. And then they showed off Wolfenstein Youngblood. Now, Wolfenstein Youngblood just blew my mind. It looked literally insane. There was explosions. It looks like it's gonna have a good story. You play as the daughters of B.J. Blazkowicz, and it just looks amazing. And if you haven't seen the E3 press conference, I suggest you go watch it because it was absolutely mind-blowing. Or if you want to check out the video I did earlier where I talk about, where I kind of did an overview and a brief review of it, that's here on the channel as well. It's a little bit shorter than the Bethesda E3 press conference, but I suggest watching the whole thing because Bethesda did do a really good job at this year's E3. After Youngblood was announced, it was on to something from one of my favorite game studios under ZeniMax, which was Deathloop. Now, Deathloop is a new game coming from Arcane Studios, which just looks absolutely insane. There's no other way to describe it unless you watch the trailer and you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to kind of grasp what I'm saying, but Deathloop looked just phenomenal from what I've seen. It looked like it had a unique and interesting story, and it looked like it was going to be a unique and interesting game, and that's what we want from our games, and especially being by Arcane Studios, that's even more better. Or that's a lot better if you ask me. After Arcane Studios showed off Deathloop, it was then on to Doom Eternal, which was kind of the really last big thing Bethesda covered. Now, Doom Eternal looks... I don't know how to explain it unless you've seen a Doom game in action. You words can't describe. It's like a crazy, disgusting first-person shooter that's amazing and awesome, and the game just looks phenomenal. I really wasn't a huge fan of Doom. I didn't even play the first one, but Doom Eternal makes me want to bust open my wallet and definitely purchase the game. And that's really all the stuff that happened at this year's E3 for Bethesda Game Studios. And to be honest, it all looked amazing. It was all fantastic. From the small stuff they showed off all the way to the big stuff they showed off, everything looked good and I wanted to play everything. There wasn't one thing in the press conference for Bethesda that I looked at and said, you know what, maybe I don't want to play that. I really don't care about that. I don't like that. I've been watching E3 most of this week. I've been watching, all the companies do their stuff, and, there's very few games that I see that I like that are coming out. But when Bethesda did their press conference, there wasn't one thing that I didn't want. It just looked amazing. Bethesda did a great job with this year's E3 press conference. A lot of the stuff was stuff that we've seen before, but it was stuff that we had never seen from the stuff we had seen before, if that makes sense. It wasn't new announcements. There was a lot of, old stuff that they kind of showed new stuff of, and it was just insane. Unless you watch the E3 press conference, you have no clue what I'm talking about, and I probably definitely lost you. I am going to try my best to edit this video, showing you guys little bits and pieces here and there, but yeah, fantastic and amazing all around Bethesda's E3 showcase for 2019, and to be honest, I can't wait for 2020. Hopefully we'll see some Starfield there, which I think we will, or perhaps we might even see some Elder Scrolls 6 next year. But until then, we just have to wait. So yeah, if you haven't seen the press conference yet, I suggest you go watch it. If you want to watch my video where I kind of just take out the important parts, you can go ahead and do that. But I suggest watching the whole press conference. Anyways, thanks for watching. Love you all. Hope to see you back here in the next one. But until then, remember to stay awesome, and bye-bye, everybody. See you next time.